What are you doing here?
You mean it's not obvious yet? I am about to celebrate becoming an only child!
What if I told you that the ultimate battle between Azula, the firebending prodigy, and Zaheer, the airbender who defies gravity, has a clear winner, but it's probably not who you're expecting. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly who dominates with strategy, skill, and raw power. Most discussions about these two skip over one crucial detail, but we won't. Shout out to @VeronicaSepati5216, at Taheimron6408, and at Kevzy for requesting this showdown. You guys always bring amazing ideas. This one's for you. So stick around or you'll miss the surprising truth about who really comes out on top and why it's more than just bending.
Do you really want to fight me?
Zaheer, the leader of the Red Lotus, might not have much airbending experience, but his combat skills, intelligence, and ruthless dedication to his cause make him an opponent to be feared.
Zaheer?
Airbending isn't exactly the best for knocking people out quickly, but Zaheer's unique fighting style makes up for it. His unconventional strikes are devastating. Just look at how he injured Korra, someone known for being pretty durable. Even though Zaheer doesn't fit the mold of a traditional airbender, dude's far from a rookie. He studied airbending deeply enough to teach Korra, and proved himself as a natural talent.
Do you know who once said, new growth cannot exist without first the destruction of the old?
No.
The wise guru Lahima.
And when he unlocked the ability to fly, Zaheer's combat style evolved to a whole new level. Flight gives Zaheer unmatched mobility, letting him stay out of reach while attacking from angles his opponents can't predict. From creating vacuum-like attacks to literally cutting off someone's air supply, Zaheer's creativity and brutality take airbending in a darker, more dangerous direction.
Freedom is just as essential as air. And without it, there is no life.
His speed and agility are top tier, making him one of the fastest fighters in the Avatar universe. Add that to his physical strength, honed as a non-bending martial artist, and you've got a fighter who's as clever as he is deadly.
Now that man's elite.
Azula stands out as one of the most skilled firebenders in the series, with plenty of feats to back it up. Whether it's overwhelming opponents with raw power or holding her own in hand-to-hand combat, Azula proves she's a versatile fighter. Even her father recognized her extraordinary talents. And while she's known for her offensive strength, her defensive moves are just as impressive when the situation calls for them. What truly elevates Azula is her tactical brilliance. She has an uncanny ability to pinpoint and exploit her enemies' weaknesses. Azula wasn't just a master firebender, she was also one of the sharpest tacticians in the series. Her flawless plan to infiltrate and conquer Ba Sing Se, and her quick thinking during the eclipse when her forces were without firebending, proved just how skilled she was at outsmarting her enemies.
I had a hunch that you survived, but it doesn't matter. I've known about the invasion for months.
Even though she's not an airbender, Azula's agility is remarkable, and she used it to great effect in most of her fights. This speed enhances her firebending, turning her into an even tougher opponent. From her first appearance to the final battles of the 100-Year War, Azula was a powerhouse and a terrifying opponent, tasked with capturing Zuko, Iroh, and the Avatar. She consistently demonstrated why she was one of the Fire Nation's greatest weapons. As a firebender, tactician, and Avatar hunter, Azula was nothing short of a worthy challenge.
My own mother thought I was a monster.
What's really fascinating about Zaheer is how he approaches combat. He's all about strategy, waiting for his opponent to slip up and then turning that into an advantage. Against Azula, that's probably the smartest plan he could go for. But the problem is, Azula doesn't make mistakes. She's a perfectionist, plain and simple.
Afraid of fire, I see. That's good. You should be.
Now, let's break this down into two scenarios. Zaheer without flight versus Azula, and Zaheer with flight versus Azula. Then, I'll give my final verdict. Without flight, Zaheer's biggest issue is that he needs to get up close to actually hurt Azula, and she's not the type to sit back and let that happen. Her approach would be relentless, keeping him on the defensive with constant pressure. That's her style. fast, precise, and unforgiving. Zaheer's not your average bender though. He's a skilled fighter, especially with how he blends his martial arts into airbending. But calling him a particularly powerful airbender would be a lie from the bottomless pits of hell. Look at his fight with Korra when she broke free from those chains. Zaheer was clearly scared. He ran because he knew he didn't stand a chance against her in a direct fight. The only reason he gained the upper hand was by using poison, not because he outmatched her in skill. If Zaheer truly believed he could defeat Korra without tricks, he wouldn't have needed the poison in the first place.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Zaheer's airbending came a long way in a short time, but he doesn't have the experience to stand out against more established benders like Azula in a bending-only match. Without the ability to fly or gain significant altitude, Zaheer would have to dodge Azula's lightning attacks. Her lightning is essentially a one-shot kill, but she won't land a hit easily because even Zuko and Katara, who aren't nearly as fast as Zaheer, managed to deflect and dodge lightning before. And I will say this though, in terms of hand-to-hand combat, Zaheer does have an edge. Even before he got bending, he was a martial arts master who could take down benders without powers. That, combined with his airbending, makes him a dangerous opponent in close quarters. But Azula isn't just about bending either. She's one of the rare benders, who seamlessly combines firebending and martial arts. Her versatility and skill in close combat would likely overwhelm Zaheer. The girl's just as deadly up close as she is at range.
Don't you know fans just make flames stronger?
Let's talk about Zaheer with Flight versus Azula.
Did he just fly?
With Flight, Zaheer gains a massive tactical advantage. His speed and ability to attack from different angles make it much harder for Azula to pin him down. Firebending and lightning are powerful, but they aren't the most accurate against a fast-moving target. And Zaheer isn't just fast, he's unpredictable. We've seen agile fighters dodge lightning before, like Aang against Ozai during Sozin's Comet. Now, I'm not saying Zaheer is on Aang's level, but the question is, how does Azula land a fatal hit on someone who's literally weightless and free to move in any direction? From the air, Zaheer can keep Azula off balance with air blasts and strategic currents. If she tries to launch herself into the air, she's at an even bigger disadvantage. Azula is relying on firebending for propulsion, while Zaheer controls the entire environment. He could easily knock her off course, or even juggle her midair, leaving her vulnerable. For Zaheer to actually deal real damage, he'd need to get close. Spamming air attacks from a distance isn't enough to take down someone as durable and relentless as Azula. And while his suffocation technique is powerful, it's not easy to pull off. Azula's speed and reflexes make it unlikely that she'd be immobilized long enough for Zaheer to use it effectively. Plus, if he gets close enough to try, she could hit him with lightning, a one-shot move that Zaheer might not be fast enough to counter at such close range. You know, there's one big thing people don't usually talk about when it comes to this battle: Zaheer's personality. He's not the type to engage in a direct fight unless he's sure he can win, realistically. If things start going south, he'd likely fly off, regroup, and come back later, probably with poison in hand. We've seen him do it before, so it's not out of character for him.
We failed!
That said, if this were an enclosed indoor fight, Azula wins hands down. But outside, Zaheer has the freedom to disengage whenever he wants. His speed against poisoned Korra was on par with Ozai's during Sozin's Comet. Azula, in her base form, can't match that speed or reach those heights. Even Iroh, an old man who wasn't even trying to hurt her, managed to catch her off guard. Zaheer, with his speed and unpredictability, could easily do the same. When you consider all this, I'd say Zaheer takes the win.
What? Which one of you just said that?
Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you're into Avatar battles and breakdowns like this, check out the next video on your screen. This is Mindbursters, and until next time, stay geeky.